Hi, I'm Jake Gilbert, the Dean of Wellness at Westfield High School and President of the Wellbeing Coalition of Westfield. We'd like to thank the Wellbeing Coalition and Parent University for bringing us the movie Angst. I know many of you watched it. If you have not, we encourage you to watch it to learn about anxiety. We know that right now, 2020, COVID, all the things that are going on, anxiety is a major concern not only for our youth, our students, but also for our parents. 10 years ago, the first time I encountered a young person with anxiety, I really had no idea what to do. I remember thinking, this kid needs help, but having no idea how to help the kid. I wondered, did the parents do something wrong? Is there something wrong with the kid that they're not addressing? Over the years, I've learned so much. We want to start a conversation, whether you have a child at home with anxiety or whether you have your child is friends with someone with anxiety or you just want to help. We want to start a conversation that's ongoing that gives us opportunities to learn and how to address and help these young people with anxiety and how to help our parents.
Absolutely. My name is Lani Johnston. I'm one of the counselors here at the high school, and like Jake mentioned, we appreciate just your involvement and your thoughts on how do we help our children, how do we help our friends, how do we help the people in our community who might be suffering with anxiety for the first time, just being in a different time that we are in 2020. There are several different forms of anxiety that you could be facing, you or your child. And we want you to know that anxiety in general is a normal characteristic that many of us feel at some point or another. Those feelings of worry or angst or fear that you have depending on the situation you're in. And those are all very normal feelings to have. So again, we want to reiterate that anxiety in general is a normal characteristic or feeling. It's when it gets to where it is debilitating your normal life activities is when it can get to a level that is a little more worrisome. And there are different, again, forms of anxiety. So there's general anxiety disorder, which we see a lot in a lot of our students who have been diagnosed with that. Some of our students face social anxiety, so they obviously have some fears of social settings. Panic disorders or phobias of spiders or heights or whatever. So again, everyone might have some of those fears or anxieties in general, but it's when it gets to when it is debilitating your normal life activities, which is kind of what the film was talking about. And again, one of the most important things I feel is just reaching out, asking for help. I think if 2020 has taught us one thing, it's that we're not superhumans. And it has affected all of us in one way or another. And I think the most important thing is just asking for help. And so, I don't know, Jake, what was something that stood out to you when watching the movie Angst?
I just really, that it's real, that it's different for everybody, that there's not a magic pill or magic beans to make it go away. There's not a one-size-fits-all solution. That we can't take away stress from the world. We cannot change the world. We have to learn how to deal with it. And that's one thing that people with anxiety have to know up front, is that we can't take the source of your anxiety away necessarily. You're going to have to learn to overcome and develop some strategies to help you when you feel anxious.
Absolutely. And as counselors, that's what we try to do our best in helping your students when we have students come down for different concerns. We do really feel it's important that we keep our students, even those suffering with high anxiety, that we keep them in our buildings. There are a lot of caring and loving adults here in the schools, not only at the high school, but obviously all of our Westfield schools, who care about your child, and we are trying to instill the best coping mechanisms and skills so that when they face these anxieties later in life or different situations, they know how to handle them. When we have students come down, we try different strategies with them to, again, kind of lower their anxiety and lower their stress levels and cortisol. So we might have them journal, listen to music. I like to use the Calm app with a lot of my students. So that, again, just kind of walks them through some relaxation exercises so that they can, again, kind of retrain their brain to get back into a better spot so that they can concentrate on what they're doing in school. Again, everyone is different, and so it really is just trying different strategies with students, and obviously can work for adults as well, to see what's going to work best for them.
So some other tips that we would give you, starting just with the body themselves. Number one, make sure you or your child are sleeping enough. There's been some studies that have showed that some kids' mental health has actually improved during lockdown and quarantine because they've actually started to sleep. So don't underestimate, and don't think that if their phone is in their room at night that they're sleeping. I would make sure that you are just monitoring your kids' actual sleep, not what time they go to their bedroom. Number two, their diet. There's been new studies coming out all the time associating gut health with cortisol in the brain. So make sure that the diet is good. Obviously, a lot of the processed foods and sugars that we eat can make us all depressed. Too many Christmas cookies around the holidays don't really help with mental health. So make sure that you're monitoring diets. Things like breathing. So the different systems in your body really cannot regulate themselves until your breathing is regulated. So if you say, okay, well, my son or daughter gets wound up and they start to struggle and their heart is racing and they lose control of their emotions, they can't get any of that back until their breathing is under control. So we practice box breathing, in for 4, 3 or 4, pause for 3 or 4, out for 3 or 4, pause for 3 or 4 seconds, and then start it again. And so I use that with kids from elementary school through high school all the time, just to compose their breathing first, and then we can deal with whatever issues are causing the anxiety. But until they get their breathing under control, you don't have much of a hope. Gratitude exercises like a gratitude playlist, going for a gratitude walk, or journaling, making a list of 10 things that you're grateful for, help you concentrate on something else other than what the phobia is or what's causing the anxiety. Those are some key things. Doing some things that help you to relax. For some kids, that's tapping or snapping their fingers or tapping their foot, or fidget spinners and fidget cubes or doodling. All of those things help some kids. Again, there's no one size fits all.
Absolutely.
And then others, right? We believe in a power of 5. We believe that everyone should have 5 caring adults in their lives, whether you're a grown-up or a youth. And the worst time to build that web of support is when you need it. Mm-hmm. So make sure that everybody has, at least 5 caring adults in their life that they can go to, people that can check in on them, people that when they are feeling anxiety build, they know, well, I can at least go and have a conversation with someone and talk through it. People that understand them and care about them and love them, so that they can say, okay, no judgment here. Let's just have a conversation. Tell me what is causing you stress? What is causing you anxiety? I'm here to listen. I think that's critical.
And I think that's the hardest part. I mean, I think if we want to take one thing away, is that you're reaching out.
Yeah.
And that's hard because, especially I think young adults feel like, well, I'm a failure if I have to reach out for help. But if you know a child or another adult that you're concerned about after watching the movie Angst and after continuing this conversation, there are definitely more resources, and that's the hardest part, is just reaching out for that first support. So Jake's going to talk about kind of those final resources or how to continue this conversation, because we'd love to be able to get you the resources you need.
So yeah, in closing, if someone's suffering from anxiety, they may not know what to do, but they know how they feel. And how they feel is very real. So the opposite of being dismissive of that would be, well, how can I help you? And if you don't have the answers, don't feel bad about that whatsoever. Please go to the Wellbeing Coalition website or go to Parent University's website, and you'll find lots of additional resources out there. And never hesitate to reach out to us here at the high school. Again, Jake Gilbert, Lani, Johnston, anything we can do to help you in any way, shape, or form. But there are wonderful resources tied to the Parent University website that can direct you to other resources as well that maybe you can employ for yourself, your son, your daughter, or a friend of yours. And we're here for you.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us today.
Go Rocks.